We told ourselves it couldn't happen. That we were in control. We were wrong. The road to global war is paved with good intentions and bad intelligence. The year is 2026. Venezuela has collapsed from chronic crisis into total anarchy. Warlords seize critical oil infrastructure. A massive refugee wave threatens to destabilize Colombia and Brazil. Washington feels it has no choice. Citing energy security and humanitarian disaster, they initiate Operation Hemispheric Stability. The initial invasion is overwhelming. It looks like a rerun of Panama in '89 or the Gulf War. U.S. air and naval dominance is absolute. The organized Venezuelan military dissolves. Caracas falls within 4 days. In Washington, champagne corks pop. The operation is hailed as a massive success, proof that American hard power is alive and well. But this speedy victory is the ultimate trap. The ease of the conquest breeds hubris. The Pentagon assumes Russia is too tied down in Eastern Europe to care, and China is too cautious to intervene so far from home. They are wildly wrong. In Tel Aviv, the government watches the U.S. conquest of Caracas with intense interest. Netanyahu publicly warns the regime in Tehran to pay close attention to Venezuela. If the U.S. can dismantle a hostile regime in its backyard to secure its interests, Israel argues it must have the same right to neutralize the existential threat of a nuclear Iran. The real war hasn't even begun. The fall of Caracas sends shockwaves through Moscow and Beijing. For Vladimir Putin, this is unacceptable. Venezuela was a forward operating base in the American sphere of influence, hosting sophisticated Russian military hardware. For Xi Jinping, it is a terrifying precedent. China has billions invested in Venezuelan oil meant to fuel its economy. If the U.S. can unilaterally conquer a sovereign nation to secure resources, what stops them in the South China Sea? Neither power can afford to let this stand. To do so is an admission that U.S. dominance is absolute. They have to draw a line. The spark occurs on day 7 of the occupation. Seeking to fully choke off the flow of rebel oil, the U.S. Navy intercepts a massive Russian-flagged crude carrier in international waters. Washington claims the tanker was smuggling refined fuel to remnants of the Venezuelan regime. They seize the ship and detain its crew, citing emergency maritime sanctions. But they've overplayed their hand. This isn't just a cargo seizure. It's a direct assault on Russian sovereign property on the high seas. Moscow demands the immediate release of the ship and its sailors, calling the move an act of state-sponsored piracy. Washington refuses to budge. Russia's response is asymmetric. They know they cannot win a conventional naval battle in the Caribbean, so they hit the American homeland without firing a single shot. 24 hours after the Volga-Dnepr is towed into a U.S. port, a massive state-sponsored cyberattack, larger than anything in history, hits the U.S. eastern seaboard. Power grids fail from Boston to Atlanta. Financial markets freeze. The message is clear. You seize our assets on the ocean, we paralyze your infrastructure at home. The illusion of a contained conflict is gone. We are now in World War III. But it's not tanks rolling across the plains of Germany. It is a hybrid, hyper-modern war fought on multiple fronts as America's rivals seize the moment of distraction. As U.S. power grids flicker, Russia escalates gray zone warfare in the Baltics, testing NATO's resolve while America is looking south. In London, the Prime Minister is facing a crisis. The UK, America's closest ally, initially offered only diplomatic support for the Venezuela adventure, wary of another Iraq. Now, faced with a direct Russian cyber assault on a NATO ally, the UK is forced to mobilize. British jets are scrambled to Estonia to intercept Russian bombers. The Royal Navy is deployed to the North Atlantic to hunt Russian submarines that are suddenly very active near undersea data cables. Europe is on a war footing. Iran, acting in concert with Moscow, mines the Strait of Hormuz. Global oil prices triple overnight. This paralyzes India. New Delhi is caught in an impossible bind. They need the US as a counterweight to China, but their military relies on Russian spare parts, and their economy runs on Middle Eastern oil. India tries to remain neutral, but as the global economy cardiac arrests, food and fuel riots rock the subcontinent. The world's largest democracy begins to buckle under the strain. The cost is staggering. Israel, already exhausted from the 12-day war in June 2025, now finds its advanced Iron Dome and David Sling interceptors running dangerously low as Iran launches waves of retaliatory ballistic missiles. The surgical conflict they hoped for has become a regional war of attrition, further stretching U.S. supply lines that are already failing to reach Caracas. But the decisive theater is the Pacific. China makes its move. They condemn the U.S. as an imperial aggressor and enforce a total air and sea exclusion zone over the South China Sea, effectively seizing control of the world's busiest shipping lanes. This is an existential threat to Japan. Tokyo's economy relies on those shipping lanes. Japan's self-defense forces are ordered to escort merchant convoys, leading to tense, armed standoffs with Chinese warships. The pacifist constitution is effectively shredded in a week. And in the chaos, the ultimate wildcard plays its hand. North Korea, seeing the U.S. distracted and emboldened by Chinese support, launches a salvo of ballistic missiles over Hokkaido, Japan. It's a diversionary tactic designed to stretch U.S. missile defenses in the Pacific to the breaking point. The U.S. is now fighting a cyber war at home, an insurgency in South America, a naval standoff in the Pacific, and a proxy war in Europe. And what of Venezuela? The cause of it all. 6 months in, the quick victory has turned into an agonizing occupation. U.S. forces, deprived of easy resupply due to global overstretch, face a brutal insurgency. State-of-the-art anti-tank and anti-air weapons are funneled to rebels by Russian and Chinese intelligence. Venezuela becomes a supercharged Vietnam, swallowing American blood and treasure while the rest of the world burns. There are no winners. The global internet is fragmented behind national firewalls. Global supply chains have collapsed, leading to rationing in London, Tokyo, and New York. The war has not gone nuclear yet, but tactical nuclear weapons are moved to forward positions globally. The U.S. secured Venezuela, only to lose the world. We live in a world where great power competition means there is no such thing as an isolated, regional conflict. The alliances of nations like the UK and Japan, the volatility of North Korea, and the strategic vines of countries like India are all tripwires waiting to be crossed. The distance between Caracas, Moscow, Beijing, and Washington is much shorter than it appears on a map. In a world this connected, no conflict stays local. What do you think would be the first domino to fall in this timeline? Let us know in the comments below.